Space may seem quiet and predictable, but astronauts have sometimes witnessed things that left even them confused. From strange flashes of light to mysterious objects outside their spacecraft, space missions have produced some truly unusual moments. Many of these events were eventually explained by science, but in the vast darkness of space, they can feel deeply mysterious. Here are 10 strange things astronauts have reported seeing in space. Number 10. Flashes of light with closed eyes. During the Apollo missions in the late 1960s and early 1970s, astronauts reported seeing sudden flashes of light while trying to sleep, even with their eyes closed. These lights appeared as dots, streaks, or tiny star-like bursts. Scientists later discovered the cause: cosmic rays. These high-energy particles travel through space at nearly the speed of light and can pass through the human eye, briefly stimulating the retina and creating the illusion of light. Experiments during Apollo and later aboard the Mir space station and the International Space Station confirmed the phenomenon. Even today, astronauts occasionally experience these strange flashes while orbiting Earth. Number 9. Gemini 4's beer can with an arm. During the 1965 Gemini 4 mission, astronaut James McDivitt spotted something strange outside his spacecraft window. He described a white cylindrical object with what looked like an arm or antenna sticking out, comparing it to a beer can with an arm. McDivitt tried to photograph it, but the images were too unclear to identify the object. Some suggested it might have been the Pegasus 2 satellite, but later analysis showed it was too far away to match the sighting. Experts believe the object may have been debris, reflections, or a visual illusion caused by the harsh lighting and lack of reference points in space. Still, McDivitt insisted he saw a structured object, one that has never been fully explained. Number 8. Gemini 7's bogey at 10 o'clock high. During the 1965 Gemini 7 mission, astronauts Frank Borman and Jim Lovell radioed a message that sparked years of UFO speculation: bogey at 10 o'clock high. In aviation terms, a bogey simply means an unidentified object. The astronauts had spotted something moving near their spacecraft. Later analysis suggested the object was likely debris from their Titan II booster rocket drifting in orbit. Borman later clarified he did not believe it was alien spacecraft. Still, at that moment, floating high above Earth, seeing an unexplained object nearby must have been a strange sight. Number 7. Buzz Aldrin's light during Apollo 11. During the historic Apollo 11 mission in 1969, astronaut Buzz Aldrin noticed something unusual outside the spacecraft as the crew traveled toward the moon. He observed a bright light that appeared to be moving alongside the command module. At the time, Aldrin described it simply as an unidentified object. Over the years, some media outlets exaggerated his comments, claiming he had seen alien spacecraft. Aldrin himself later clarified that the most likely explanation was much simpler. Several components from the spacecraft, including panels and rocket hardware, had been discarded earlier in the mission. One of these pieces may have been reflecting sunlight as it drifted nearby. From inside the spacecraft, it would have appeared as a solitary moving light in the darkness of space. An eerie sight when you're nearly 400,000 kilometers from Earth. Number 6. The Space Angels of Salyut 7. One of the strangest stories in spaceflight history comes from the Soviet Salyut 7 space station in 1984. Some later accounts claim that cosmonauts aboard the station reported seeing giant glowing figures outside the spacecraft, described as human-like shapes with wings. According to these stories, the luminous figures appeared to float alongside the station for several minutes. However, the evidence for this event is extremely weak. Unlike most NASA missions, Soviet records from the Cold War era are often incomplete or filtered through later interviews and documentaries. Researchers who attempted to track down official technical reports describing the incident have not found definitive documentation. Because of this, many historians believe the story may have been exaggerated or misremembered over time. Still, the tale of space angels remains one of the most unusual alleged sightings ever attributed to astronauts. Number 5. The strange music of Apollo 10. In May 1969, Apollo 10 conducted a full rehearsal for the upcoming moon landing. While the spacecraft was passing behind the moon, completely cut off from radio contact with Earth, the astronauts began hearing something strange in their headsets, a high-pitched whistling sound. On recorded mission tapes, the astronauts jokingly referred to it as outer space music. The eerie sound seemed to come and go as the spacecraft orbited the moon. Years later, engineers identified the most likely explanation: radio interference. Both the command module and the lunar module had active VHF radio systems. When the two radios operated together under certain conditions, they created feedback signals that produced the strange whistling sound. To the astronauts, though, hearing unexplained music while orbiting the far side of the moon must have been deeply unsettling. Number 4. Lightning that shoots upward. Astronauts aboard the International Space Station have observed a rare phenomenon where lightning travels upward instead of downward. These events, known as transient luminous events, include formations like red sprites, blue jets, and gigantic jets. They originate above thunderstorms and shoot high into the upper atmosphere. From space, they appear as glowing red or blue bursts rising from storm clouds, sometimes resembling giant jellyfish in the sky. To astronauts watching from orbit, it can look as if Earth is sending bright sparks into space. Number 3. Rocket launch space jellyfish. When rockets launch shortly before sunrise or after sunset, they can create a breathtaking phenomenon sometimes called a space jellyfish. At high altitude, the rocket's exhaust plume spreads into a wide, glowing cloud. Because the plume is still illuminated by sunlight while the ground below is dark, the exhaust appears as a luminous shape with long tendrils. Astronauts observing launches from orbit have described these plumes as enormous glowing creatures expanding in the atmosphere. People on the ground often mistake them for UFOs. In reality, they are simply a beautiful combination of sunlight, thin atmosphere, and rocket exhaust. Number 2. The zigzagging lights of STS-48. One of the most debated pieces of space footage comes from the 1991 STS-48 mission aboard the Space Shuttle Discovery. In the video, several small points of light appear to drift across the camera view of Earth. Suddenly, one of the lights changes direction sharply, appearing to zigzag away. To some viewers, it looked like an intelligent object reacting to something. But detailed analysis by spaceflight experts suggests a much simpler explanation. The lights were likely tiny ice particles or debris floating near the shuttle. When the shuttle's thrusters fired, the particles were pushed in different directions, creating the illusion that they suddenly changed course. The camera's tracking motion and perspective also contributed to the confusing visual effect. Even with these explanations, the footage remains a favorite among UFO enthusiasts. Number 1. The Tether Experiment and the Swarm. In 1996, the STS-75 mission attempted an ambitious experiment involving a satellite connected to the space shuttle by a long electrical tether. The tether was extended nearly 19 kilometers 12 miles before suddenly snapping. As the satellite drifted away, cameras recorded a surreal scene. A glowing tether stretching into darkness, surrounded by dozens of circular shapes drifting nearby. In the video, some of these shapes appear to pass behind the tether, which led many viewers to claim the footage showed fleets of UFOs. Scientists later explained that the objects were most likely out-of-focus debris or ice particles near the camera lens. Because of the way cameras focus on distant objects, nearby particles can appear as large circular shapes. Still, watching the tether drift away surrounded by floating debris created one of the most visually strange moments ever captured in space. Space is full of incredible sights, and sometimes things even astronauts can't immediately explain. From mysterious lights to strange sounds, space continues to surprise those who explore it. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe.